Hello, and welcome to Isaiah 40 through 66. So we've just finished 35 weeks in the book of Acts. We went through every verse of the Greek of the book of Acts. Now, we're not going to go through every verse of the Hebrew of Isaiah 40 through 66. Isaiah 40 through 66 were, of course, written in Hebrew. It's in the Old Testament. The setting of Isaiah 40 through 66 is Israel returning from captivity in Babylon, where they've been for decades, about 70 years. And so Isaiah 40 through 66 looks to the return of Israel from captivity. Now, there are two kinds of approaches to that. So my go-to commentary throughout this is going to be John Oswalt's Isaiah 40 through 66 commentary. John Oswalt sees these chapters as Isaiah being given the gift of prophecy to see what's going to happen in the future about 150 years afterwards. So Isaiah lived in the 700s BC, but everybody would agree that Isaiah 40 through 66 deals with the 500s BC, the late 500s BC. So in the year 538 BC, the emperor Cyrus, king of Persia, who's actually mentioned by name in Isaiah 45:1, Cyrus tells the Jews that they can go home from captivity. Comfort ye, my people. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. In other words, go home. You can go back to Jerusalem. And that's the setting of Isaiah 40 through 66. So the question is, did Isaiah prophesy this in the 700s, or is this section attached as a kind of appendix, as it were, to the prophecies of Isaiah? And there are different theories on that. I may do a patron video this week on Wednesday about that. It seems fitting. I won't do that kind of a patron video every week, although I will do something to do with patrons every week. But this week on Wednesday, I may do a patron video kind of talking about the contours of that particular debate. But everybody would agree, I think, that Isaiah 40 through 66 is talking about that period. It's talking about the late 500s when Israel returned from Israel. So this idea of comforting, make straight in the desert, it's about coming home. Make a beeline from Babylon back to Jerusalem. And of course, I'm starting this video series, this Isaiah series around Christmas time. So it seems very fitting, because these are also understood in a secondary sense, in a spiritual sense, in a sensus plenior, if you would, a fuller sense, by the New Testament Christians in relation to the coming of Jesus, who is restoring his people and saving his people also. So these verses are quoted in the Gospels in relation to John the Baptist. We'll talk about that in our podcast. Our podcasts are intended to be on Tuesdays and Fridays, dealing with 7 to 8 verses each time. We'll do a podcast on all of the verses, but I will only look sparingly at the Hebrew in case you want to learn Hebrew, because I think you can learn Hebrew while doing this series of videos. The key is, mentally, you have to make an adjustment. A lot of times we want to learn everything and then move, I want to learn this thing and then I want to move on to the next thing. But when you're learning inductively, the goal is to learn one new thing each time, just one new thing, and not to worry about having it all, because I'm going to be repeating things over and over. So these are, thankfully, Isaiah 41 is a fairly short verse. So we don't have a lot of letters. Well, we have some letters to learn. Nun appears twice. Chet appears twice. Mu, mem, boy, if we're playing buying the letters with Vanna, we're going to buy that mem, because there are lots of mems or m's. These are the m's, the mems. So if you don't learn all of these letters today, no problem, because we're going to be doing this for probably about 35 weeks. It's going to take about the same amount of time to get through Isaiah 40 through 66 as it took us to get through the book of Acts. If you want to learn the letters systematically, at some point in the past, when I was teaching Hebrew for ministry for Wesley Seminary, I did a video on the letters. And so there is a video that if you want to learn the letters systematically, you can do that. And of course, for patrons on Saturdays, I hope to be writing toward a book, Hebrew for Ministers and Scholars. And so now that won't be made public because I hope eventually to publish that. But on Saturdays, I'll be doing it, try to do at least a paragraph a week of that book, maybe more some days, that will basically go through learning Hebrew with a view to the Bible. By the way, while I'm here, let me tell you about a couple of websites that are very helpful. We used to have to pay a lot of money to buy these things, but now everything is free. Not everything, but a lot of things are free on the web. So let me go ahead and share with you. I think am I already? There we go. Now I should be sharing with you blueletterbible.org. This is a site, great site, because if you go ahead and put the reference, Isaiah 40 in there. I always click to something other than the King James, not that I'm against the King James, but the King James was based upon manuscripts that a guy named Erasmus had available in the early 1500s. Well, we've discovered a lot of manuscripts, and I guarantee you Erasmus himself would use those manuscripts if he were doing the same thing today. And so we just have a better sense of what the original text read today than we did in the 1500s. It's not that different. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's wildly crazy different. I don't think it is. There's just a few minor variations, and usually it's pretty obvious what happened in copying. So there's only a few kind of really debate texts, the ending of Mark, and that sort of thing. And in the Old Testament, this is even much less of a factor. But I usually do flip the version to something other. Basically, on Blue Letter Bible, you have the Greek and Hebrew behind the King James, and then if you click to any other version, you're going to get the Greek and Hebrew behind the New American Standard Bible. So even though I flipped it to RSV because it was near the top, what I'm getting here is the Hebrew behind the New American Standard Bible, if I know correctly. But probably the Hebrew behind the New American Standard Bible is pretty much the same as the Hebrew behind the King James. What Blue Letter Bible does, if you click on the verse, so you put the verse in, if you click on this verse at the top, so here's the verse we're looking at today. Comfort ye, my people. Anyway, so I clicked on this verse and this popped up. It gives you the Hebrew text, Masoretic text. That's the Hebrew behind the. It looks like Blue Letter Bible is just going to give you the Masoretic text, no matter what version you click on. So I didn't have to click off the King James. Masoretic text is a text from the, say, 900s AD after Christ. That was the basis behind the King James Bible. The Masoretes were very careful copyists of the Old Testament. And so you can see that this doesn't look exactly the same. So let me just tell you, this is Nakamu and this is Nakam. Why are they different? Well, because sometimes this is the same in English. The form you find in the dictionary isn't exactly like the form that's used in real sentences. Like take the word books. Let's say I read a sentence or say a sentence that has the word books in it. Well, if I go to the dictionary, it's not going to have books. It's going to have just book. And so Hebrew and Greek are especially mangle it. So Hebrew will do stuff to the beginning of the word, the end of the word, the middle of the word. Things get changed. And so we have to know what the dictionary form is if we want to look up the word. But we don't have to know the dictionary form because Blue Letter Bible, by clicks and things, takes us there. So this listed here are the dictionary forms of the words. If you want to hear it, you just press on
Strong's H 5162. Nacham. Nacham.
Now, I'm not going to pronounce the I'm not going to use an sound. I think that might not be correct. But anyway, or as correct, I'm going to say Nakam. But anyway, it'll pronounce the dictionary form of the word there. This is the Strong's number. The H means Hebrew. If you click on that, it'll take you to Nacham, and it'll tell you, even at the bottom, it tells you all the places in the Old Testament where this particular word is used. And so that's a lovely tool. But if we go down here, it's going to tell you the transliteration, That is, it'll put in English letters. There's one of the words for God, Elohim, Elohim underneath, see? As one of the first adjustments is to know that Hebrew goes from right to left. It doesn't go from left to right like English. It goes from right from right to left. Is that, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. I try, there's a mirror of myself, so I have to figure out. It goes from right to left. So this is Elohim. And then the transliteration goes this way, Elohim. So it gives you a rough translation, transliteration underneath. Rough translation on the left here. Another site is interlinearbible.org. That's easier for me to remember. If you type that in, it redirects to biblehub.com/interlinear. And here what you do is you type in Isaiah 40 at the top, and then it'll take you there. And this is great. There's the Hebrew in the middle. Underneath is the rough translation, interlinear, between the lines. Right above it, it gives you the, so Hebrew goes from right to left. The transliteration goes from left to right, because that's how we do it in English. So Nachamu, Nachamu. Notice this is an H with a dot under it. Nachamu. This is not Nahamu. This is Nachamu. That's the letter hate, as we'll see in a second. And then again, the Strong's numbers at the top, which I don't even have to go there. I just hover over it, and it tells me that this means to be sorry, console oneself, repent, regret, comfort ye. Yeah, okay. So there you have it. Console yourself. Okay, so those are some of the tools. Isn't this great? And now, just recently, interlinearbible.org added this code underneath. This is great. Until recently, like when I taught Hebrew for ministry at Wesley Seminary, until recently, I had to have the students buy Olive Tree software so that they could have the analysis of the words. But now, finally, interlinearbible.org has added the analysis. So now we don't need to pay any money, not even to Ken Shank, to know what these words mean, because the code is underneath. So on my Thursday videos, I will be looking at the grammar of this verse of Isaiah 41. I'm going to make that free this week. In future weeks, I may do it for patrons first and then make it free maybe a few weeks later. But this week, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my analysis of the grammar, which has to do with this line. I'll make that free this week. Okay, well, you're saying, why are you taking so much time? I want to look at the Hebrew and learn these letters. Okay, well, let's learn these letters. So let's go back to where we were, and let's learn some letters. Again, don't feel like you need to know everything all at once. Learn enough, one new thing each time. So let's learn the consonants, or the upper thing, first. Hebrew added the vowels later. The Masoretes added these vowel points underneath. Even today, if you buy a Hebrew newspaper in Jerusalem, it won't have these points underneath the text. It will just have it won't even have this point in the middle. It won't have those, these dots will all disappear, and you'll just have the bare consonants. And so let's learn the consonants today first. This is a nun, like an N. This is a chet, which is a guttural. This is a mem, which is a this is oo. It's actually a vowel. I said consonants, but Hebrew was moving towards having, they're called mothers of reading, matres lectionis, mothers that basically they help you, they're vowel letters that help you know that there's an oo here. But this letter is called a vav. I'm going to say vav. Some pronounce it wow, but I'm pronouncing it like modern Hebrew, so I'm going to go with the vav. This is another nun. This is the same word twice, right? Comfort, comfort. Nun, chet, mem, vav. Nun, chet, mem, vav. Nun, chet, mem, vav. This is an ayin, which is, it doesn't actually have a pronunciation. Well, it does. Its pronunciation is a constriction of the throat. We don't do this in English. So you take the this is a underneath it, and go ah. It's like the sound of incipient vomiting, my Hebrew professor said, Lawson Stone at Asbury Seminary. So this is ayin, but you could just say ayin. Let's face it, we're English speakers. When you get ready to go to Israel, then you work on your pronunciation of the ayin. Mem again. This is called a yod. This is another. The yod and the vav could be used as consonants. A consonant is a constriction of the sound in some way, like v or y. This is vav, so v, and this is yod, so y. When they're consonants, they constrict the sound. However, both of these letters could be used as helpers to say vowel alert, vowel alert. So this is u, and then this is e with the dot. It's called a heroic yod. This vowel is called heroic. With the yod, it makes a vowel that goes e. It's the mouse combination. So nun, chet, mem, vav, nun, chet, mem, vav, ayin, mem, yod. Yod. Now here the yod is not used as a vowel. It's used as a yo. Yeah. So this is, that's a cholam, yo. This is an aleph. Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet. Aleph, beit, gimel, dalet. Again, see the video here down here. So ayin and aleph are both constrictions of the sound. Now, the ayin is a stronger constriction of the sound than the aleph is. Again, we're English speakers. I tend to just pronounce this yo. And in fact, in this particular situation, you don't have to know this, the aleph is quiescent, which means it goes quiet. Again, so we just say yo, yomar, yomar. This is yod, aleph, mem, resh, resh. Resh is an R. By the way, the name of the letter is not how you pronounce it, right? So this letter is called resh, but you don't say yod, aleph, mem, resh. That's not what you say. That's just the name of it. The sound it makes is a y, yomar. That's the way it's pronounced, even though they have separate names for the letter. It's a little that way in English, right? The name of the letter R is R, but we don't say R whenever we see the letter R. We go So like if I'm having a race, I don't pronounce the R R-A-C-E. That's not how you pronounce race. R-A-C-E, that's not how you pronounce it. That's how you spell it. And in the same way, Hebrew, the names of, how do you spell this word? Yod, aleph, mem, resh. But how do you pronounce it? Yomar. So you know these things in English, but you don't think about them because you learned them so long ago. So what do we have? Nun, chet, mem, vav. Nun, chet, mem, vav. Ayin, mem, yod. Yod, aleph, mem, resh. And then the name for God, aleph, lamed, this is an L, hey. Notice that the hey and the chet are very similar. The difference is that the chet, this line goes all the way up to the top, whereas in the hey, it doesn't. These are the jots and tittles, right? The teeny little differences that they do make a difference. Chet is just a different letter than hey. This is a, and this is a different sound. There's another yod. This is another vowel letter, or it's being used as a piggyback for a vowel. So we say elo, hey. This is 2 dots is different from 1 dot. Hold on for the vowels. This is a kaf. It's a K sound. And then this is a final mem. Oh boy. Oh, again, don't get frustrated. Just learn one thing today, even if it's just the nun, that this is a nun. Start there. The mem had a different form when it was the last letter of a word and when it was in the beginning or the middle of a word. Who made up this language, right? So if the mem, the M sound, if the M is in the middle of the word, as these other ones are, it looked like this. But when it was the last letter, then it took this more square form. Who knew? Again, ours is not to question why. Ours is just to memorize or die. And then this is a kind of a period. It's called a sof pasuk. It's just, this sentence has now ended. Comfort my people, says your God. Okay, Let me go through the letters one more time. Nun, chet, mem, vav. Nun, chet, mem, vav. Ayin, mem, yod. Yod, aleph, mem, resh. Aleph, lamed, hey, yod, kaf, mem. So those are the consonants. That's probably enough for us today. These underneath, again, are the vowel letters. This is a short A. This is an even shorter A. You can see the similarity. Short A, even shorter A. This is an oo. It's called a saluk. When you put the vav, by the way, vav could be pronounced wow, but I'm going to go with vav because that's the way modern Hebrew pronounce it. Vav with a dot is a sharuk, and it's pronounced oo. Don't ask why. It's just stuff to memorize. This is a patak again, a short A. This is a hirik. As I mentioned, it's a short I. But when it's with a yod, it becomes a long I. E, hirik yod combination. This is called a holum, which is a long O. There's a holum there too. And it's yo. Yo, this is silent. It's quiescent. Mar, there's a patak again. This three dot here is a sagol. It's an sound, a short E sound. And with this shavah, these two dots, up and down, it's called a shavah. Shavah. So this is a katef patak. Katef patak. It's a shorter, even shorter ah. And so this epsilon, the sagol, the three dots, is a short E. With this shavah, it's an even shorter E. And then this is a two dot, is a sere. And this is also two dots here, but it has a punctuation mark there. I think that's called a saluk. I should double check my punctuation. It just basically says, this is the end of a verse. These dots underneath were added by the Masoretes to help us understand how to pronounce it. Because apparently, there was some forgetting of how to pronounce things, I would say, or in danger of it. So they created a vowel system to help know how to say those things. Well, so let me go ahead and pronounce all of it. We've just begun. We've only just begun. So I don't necessarily expect you to know all this. It's a fire hydrant. Just learn one thing. This is a nun. And so how do we pronounce this? Nachamu. Nachamu. Ami. Yomar. Eloheka. And it translates as comfort, plural, my people. This is the my, believe it or not. The hirik yod is the my people. Said or says, this kam at the end, this kem. Okay, this is a sagol. This is this basically. It's hard to see because of the punctuation up and down there, but this is a sagol here at the end. Your God, your Elohim, your God. Comfort my people, says your God. There we've begun. Comfort, nakamu, ami. Anyway, have a great day. We've begun Isaiah 40 through 66.